Good morning, sports fans and everyone alike. Welcome to this new, exciting episode of the worst sports podcast out there. This is Raven Slayer's Hour. And like I said, like it says in the title, we are going to go over some brief updates with the NFL. Brief updates with the NFL, full updates with the baseball, whole entire MLB season that's ongoing, and some updates with the NBA and the NBA playoffs in general. So, luckily this time I will not be alone. Let me transition over so he can get in here. Good morning to you, sir. There's a Jaden Daniels that he wanted to show off, made sure of it. So I told him earlier today what we're doing. Start of the show, we're going to show off some of the cards that we recently got, want to show off, and just do some, woohoo, we're showing them off. So there's his two. Here are my two. It's my Jeremy Pena stamp of approval relics card, numbered 42 out of 150. And then my personal favorite, my tribute triple relics card, Corbin Carroll, number 44 out of 50.
Yeah, that Corbin Carroll is sick, bro.
It is.
That was a good hit. For anyone joining the show or watching the show afterward, if you check the chat here on the right hand side, I posted a link. I'll show you why we whatnot. That Jaden Daniels, I won an auction, got the Commanders for $1. $1. Get that Jaden Daniels Purple Shock from Donruss Optic. You can check it yourself. A card ungraded is selling in the $45 to $50 range. I'm sending it off for grading. I'm expecting it to come back a 9 or a 9.5. It's a $150 card for $1.
Well, if I'm
Guys, if you want to sign up for
mistaken,
whatnot,
you found that one. You found that one via
Fanatics Live.
Fanatics. Yeah, you got that one off of
I
Fanatics.
did, but it was the same seller, Breaking Bad, that I found that's on Fanatics Live. They're also on Whatnot. So,
okay.
guys, if you're interested, if you love auctions and you love sports cards like we do, there is a link to join Whatnot in the chat. You get $10 as soon as you sign up, a $10 credit. Once you sign up, you put in your shipping address and add a form of payment. You get a $10 credit to use on your first purchase. And then each person that you get to sign up, you get another $10 credit once they make their first purchase and it ships. So I cannot be held responsible for what happens when you sign up and you start bidding. Not my fault, okay? But it's been fun. We're getting back into it. I'm doing this. Daryl and I share notes on what we hit each time. On top of that, my daughter has taken an interest in the cards. We got a free pack from the bidder or from the seller when we won this of Score Halloween cards that are very rare and hard to find. She got a Troy Franklin Denver Broncos rookie card that she lost her mind over. It's been a blast. Now, don't send this off to your wives. I'm warning you now. My wife already bought a $92 Amazon mystery box. She probably did okay on it, but I'm just warning you. She spent 4 hours buying yarn last night, so don't share it with the wives, don't share it with the girlfriends, but share it with all your buddies. It's a blast.
Exactly. All right, so that'll transition us into the topics of today's show. So I know I've kind of shared with you some information too. We're going to start off with baseball, transition into basketball, and then finish it off with the brief news out of the NFL. So to start things off, as everybody heard, the MLB decided that it was the right idea to finally reinstate two players that were in contention. Pete Rose and good old shoeless Joe Jackson. I know you've kind of shared your thoughts on it, Dad, but definitely want to have you share your thoughts to the fans here. So,
Yeah. So I like what the commissioner decided that, these guys have now served their time. They essentially served a life sentence. It didn't make sense to carry it on into the afterlife. Um, it took long enough to make this decision. Now, this only opens the door a crack. Now we're leaving it up to the writers to make the final decision. And if there's one thing that we have proven with the 80s era, 90s era baseball players, the writers are a fickle bunch. If anyone deserves to be in just based off of baseball merit, Pete Rose deserves to be in. He is the all-time hits leader, and that may be something that stands forever. He deserves to be in. However, in his decision to admit to wrongdoing, he admitted to gambling on games not only as a manager, but as a player. For Pete Rose to admit that he bet on baseball games as a player when he could, not did, but could have manipulated performance, that is a very, very slippery slope. I will be shocked if, at least on the first attempt, in 5 years when he will be eligible, if the writers choose to put him in, how do they then stand on their moral high ground over steroids in the 80s and 90s era the way they have to date? As far as Shoeless Joe Jackson goes, there was never any proof of wrongdoing on his behalf. Now, the other Black Sox, there's enough out there, enough evidence out there that, those guys will probably never get in. For Shoeless Joe, I hope that this opens the door for him to get in. Whether he did enough in baseball to merit election, that's another topic. But the fact that he basically traveled around, all the other leagues after getting banned from baseball, hopefully there's enough there to get that guy in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, again, just based on baseball stats, he deserves to be in. Whether or not he deserves to be in after admitting to gambling on baseball, that's another topic. What are your thoughts?
well, me personally, I mean, especially with Pete Rose, he admitted wrongdoing. As you mentioned again, games that he gambled on, not only as a player but as a coach or manager, where he could have manipulated the outcome of games, just by him telling his players, "Hey, play bad today. I bet against you guys." He very well. I mean, him trying to influence the outcome of games comparatively to, or you know what I mean. Him trying to influence the games on the games that he bet on. I'm very much on the fence as well as far as him getting in. Defi is down to the writers, as you had mentioned prior. So very well, I could see Pete Rose potentially sneaking in on his second attempt, or his second time on the ballot rather than on his first. But definitely will be down to the writers. I mean, now that his numbers are back, and back in the actual MLB, as far as his stats now being, legitimate now. We very well could see Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, not on his first time, but his second time. But as
And
far as
keep in mind
Shoeless,
too, sorry, keep in mind too on Pete Rose's, he's got two ways to get in. He can get in as a player, he can get in as a manager. I think he'll have a harder time getting in elected as a manager because regardless of the gambling, which by the way, he said he only ever bet on his team to win. And the only way that you manipulate without involving the players is to change lineups. I don't think he did that. I think what'll stop him getting in as a manager is the overall results. He didn't win anything. He didn't win a championship as a manager. So I don't think he gets in as a manager. The only way he gets in will be as a player, and only because he's the all-time hits leader. Not to say he was a bad baseball player. He wasn't. It'll come down to whether or not him gambling on the games when he was an actual player is enough to disqualify him.
Now, in his defense, I mean, you can't really win if you have an owner meddling like Marge Schott. So that's that in his defense a little bit there, but either way, I mean, gambling on the game, just there shouldn't be any part of it in baseball if you're a player or a manager in general. But again, he's paid his dues. I mean, unfortunately, he passed away. And as you mentioned prior to, they really don't make moves in the MLB as far as commissioner until they've actually died. So, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. He's finally back in. Congrats to Pete. Somewhat. But as far as Shoeless Joe, I mean, I know you and I definitely have gone and talked in length about this in the past. Definitely nothing really connecting him to the actual Black Sox scandal with betting on the game and intentionally throwing the game. I definitely see Shoeless Joe getting in there on his first ballot rather than anything, more than anything.
And put it in perspective for those who don't know the story of Shoeless Joe. Guy hit 356 over his career major leagues. Now that doesn't cover what happened in the minor leagues or anything else. But to hit 356 even in those days is absolutely absurd. I think that's over almost 5,000 at bats. And one of everyone's favorite stats is wins above replacement. 62 wins above replacement over his career. This guy was a beast. He was a beast. We're going back an awful lot of years in order to even talk about him. We're talking a century, guys. For the guy to hit 356 in the majors and then everything he did after the majors, just based on merit alone, the guy deserves to be in. And again, never any proof of any wrongdoing for Shoeless Joe. Put the man in. That's where I'm at.
Well, that'll transition us into some of the younger players in the MLB today, getting themselves into the MLB. Some prospects finally got promoted over this past week. The Cubbies wound up promoting Moises Ballesteros. The Dodgers ultimately promoted Dalton Rushing finally, and the Diamondbacks promoted Jordan Lawler once again. I know you and I, Diamondbacks fans, were super, high on Jordan Lawler as a prospect for the Diamondbacks. But these other two guys that came that got called up and promoted here with Ballesteros and Rushing, what's your thoughts on that, Dad?
Well, let's start first with Jordan Lawler. Jordan Lawler was listed as the number 4 overall prospect in all of minor league baseball this year. Totally stoked to see this kid get the call up. He deserves to be there. 6 home runs in a very short stint in AAA to start the year. The only reason this guy was not on the opening day roster, it's simple. It's really simple. Team control. I hate the way that Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement works. It really, for lack of a better way of putting it, screws the young kids. I get it. Teams have to have some control over their young prospects early on in their career. I love this kid. Jordan Lawler has the potential to be a 25 home run guy pretty easily. The potential to hit in the 250 to 275 range. Probably top of the order hitter. So for him to get the call up, that's freaking fantastic. Congratulations. Dalton Rushing, number 15 overall prospect in minor league baseball before the call up. This kid's going to hit some dingers, guys. If you're going to a Dodgers game, make sure you sit in the outfield. Get ready to catch some balls from this kid. 5 home runs in his short stint in AAA this preseason. He has the potential, I think, to unseat Mike Piazza as one of the greatest Dodgers catchers in history. Um, I love these two call ups. These two call ups are all about a young kid that has the potential to be one of the top players over the next 15 seasons in Major League Baseball. So, super excited for those two. The other one, what's his name?
Who for the Cubbies?
Yeah, Moises Ballesteros.
Yeah.
For the Cubbies, I think this is more just getting him a taste. Wasn't hitting extremely well in AAA over the first month. I feel like they're trying to fill some holes more than anything else. He was number 61 on the overall prospect list. I don't know that he has the size and power, especially as a first baseman, possibly as a catcher. I don't know that he's got the size and the power to put up numbers similar to these last two guys. But he may still end up being a serviceable platoon guy. A second catcher, a backup first baseman. We'll see. Uh, Hoping for his sake that he can put up the numbers that keep him in the show. We all hate watching guys get called up to the show and then sent back down. It would not surprise me if that's what we see out of Moises Ballesteros. We'll find out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, with Ballesteros, he definitely wasn't batting all that great at the beginning of his AAA debut, but he definitely turned around his numbers, batting about 368 on average. Definitely not a power and definitely not a power hitter. He's only hit 4 thus far in his season in AAA with 18 RBIs. So, um, definitely looking more like a contact hitter comparatively. Um, More just get on base, get runs in more than anything. But I definitely agree. It's more of a getting a taste of his action in MLB. Possibly, I can see them moving him back down halfway through the season. But again, huge question marks, especially from what I believe right now, their main catcher uh, may not be may not be healthy right now. It's probably why they moved Moises up anyway. But Dalton Rushing, his move up to the Dodgers, he's hitting phenomenal right now. 2 for 4, about hitting about 500 right now for the Dodgers. In the few games he's been in, so he very well could be another rising star for the Dodgers. But his numbers
Yeah, as
in
if they need another one.
yeah, right. But his numbers in AAA definitely weren't a fluke. Hitting 308 on average, 5 home runs with 17 RBIs. But I definitely agree with you with Jordan Lawler. He's a great player, definitely team control. That's why he wasn't called up in the beginning of the season. Hitting 366 on average, 6 home runs, and 31 RBIs. The real question is, especially with his position at shortstop, is he going to be able to compete for the job against Geraldo Perdomo right now?
It's gonna be tough to unseat Perdomo. Perdomo isn't playing poorly, but there's a lot of ways to get these kids in the lineup. Jordan Lawler, just plug them in at DH. Um, give Ketel Marte time off, give Perdomo time off. They're gonna find ways. You find ways to get hitters in the lineup. It's one of the most important things in baseball. You can't leave hitters on the bench. Jordan Lawler, we'll see what his splits look like. Maybe he's gonna hit lefties and sit on righties. It's a great problem to have as a manager, to have a lot of talent that you can plug into a lineup. They're not going to rush him, but I think he has the potential to put up numbers to keep him in the lineup. and force some of the other guys out. So we'll see. Couple of names to watch over the next couple of weeks as we start to see these call-ups happen more and more often. I really like Marcelo Mayer of the Red Sox. The kid's hitting 279 already. He's hitting 300 in single A. Watch for him. He's a AAA type prospect, and he may get a call up. I'm sorry, Max Clark. He may get a call up sooner than later. The other guys that I would watch for, Walter Jenkins with the Twins. He's not hitting quite as well in the minors right now. He might wait until next year. Um, we'll have to find out. And then, guys, if this guy doesn't get a call up this year, it's criminal. Jock Caglione, first baseman for the Royals. This guy is hitting the cover off the ball right now, and he's in my personal opinion one of the top prospects outside of Roman Anthony for the Red Sox. Keep your eyes on these guys. Both of those guys, Caglione and Anthony, should get the call up this year, and they should get it soon. They are two of my top watchers in minor leagues right now.
Definitely agree. No, yeah, I definitely think that Anthony definitely is going to be getting that call up a lot quicker than Caglione. But definitely just you have to see what happens here in the next couple of weeks. So, as more news comes out as far as baseball, as far as players getting promoted, we'll definitely reach that when it comes. As I always love to do too. Whatever beginning of the month, whatever we're looking at the end of the month here. We're going to do further recaps at the end of the month as far as what we're going to do recap of the month essentially here as far as who the leader is then at that time for the divisions, who to watch out for, who to watch out for as far as those races in the divisional race. But we'll definitely review that closer towards the end of the month here. So after talking about those prospects, it'll definitely transition us into the NBA. We all know a lot of things happen, as far as the final, the final games here that happened between the Timberwolves and the Knicks. The Timberwolves ultimately want to beat out the Warriors in a 4-1 series. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to keep an eye out to with the offseason. Now, just talking about their series more than anything, with Curry going down with his injury, definitely him being injured did not help the Warriors in general to even try and push it to a 7-game series.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I don't think it mattered. Minnesota might be the best team left. Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. Man, these guys are showing up. I love Ant. Ant might be my favorite player in the NBA right now, and that's hard to say as a Suns fan because I love Devin Booker. Devin Booker is a whiny baby on NBA 2K25. I'm getting too much time. We'll talk about that later. No, Anthony Edwards, man, that guy can just take a game over. Just absolutely take a game over. And Julius Randle, he shows up in the playoffs. The Steph Curry injury absolutely did not help. No argument. I don't think, just based on the way the games went, I don't think it would have made the difference. I think Minnesota was going to prevail in this series regardless. It was tough to see. I love Steph Curry. He's probably the most prolific three-point shooter of this generation or possibly any other. This guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. More important coming out of this series is what does it mean for the Warriors? The hug that Draymond Green gave as he walked off the court, I think he might retire. I think he might be over all of the I'm not an angry old man that goes on with him. I think he might retire and we might see the start of a rebuild for the Warriors. They took their shot. They swung for the fences, bringing on Jimmy Butler. Didn't get it done. It might be rebuild time for them, and Jimmy and Steph might stick around, but the rest of that roster probably up for grabs.
Definitely. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Draymond go ahead and hang him up this year. Who knows if he does ultimately retire? Maybe we see another Uncle Drew movie coming out here sometime soon, with him being featured in that movie. Um,
Yeah.
him replacing Shaq would be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate to see. I know Draymond. He got his rings. He was I don't like to say certain words, but he was a POS when it came to playing on the court, especially with the way he played. He played far too aggressive, and it ultimately caught up with him. It's the main thing.
Yep.
It caught up with it. Caught up with his body. That's why he didn't perform all that well this year. So, I wouldn't be shocked to see him retire either.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be shocking. And as much as I dislike Draymond Green in terms of who he is as a player, he is a defensive beast. I will give him that. He knows how to get under other players' skins. I will give him that. I don't understand how a guy who puts up just very median numbers got to stay on the court as long as he did, beyond the fact he was essentially an enforcer in a day and age where enforcers in basketball are not looked upon as must-haves. Uh, he's a very good player. He'll never make the Hall of Fame, and if he does, it's criminal. He got there riding off the coattails of Clay and Steph. Um, he's a good player, not a great player. Wish him the best. I hope he retires. He really ought to. And it's time for a rebuild though.
Definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't be. Yeah, and even with that, I mean, the Warriors rebuild definitely is would be interesting to see too. I mean, especially with the news of a potential Giannis trade. Um, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
don't get into trade talk just yet, sir. We got three other series to talk about. Let's wrap up the West really quick and let's talk about Game 7, Oklahoma City, Denver. What are your predictions?
Oh, that's a good one. I think more than anything, the way that Oklahoma City has been performing thus far, they'll win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. That's kind of how this series has ultimately gone between the two teams. They keep trading off games left, right, and center. They didn't underperform, they didn't overperform, so it's kind of tough to say. More than anything, I see Oklahoma City wind up winning out that series and winning out the series here today. Um, honestly, tomorrow. My apologies. I see it coming down to a. Right now, what they're predicting is as far as the spread, it's a 8.5 point spread. I don't see them covering the spread. I'll see it probably getting closer towards like 4 to 6 points difference between the two as far as whoever wins. But definitely
You're
see it
seeing the
coming down
nail
to a
biter.
close. Yeah, see a nail biter between them.
Um, I feel like Oklahoma City needed to close that out in 6. The fact that we're going back for a Game 7 or Oklahoma City, that's scary. These are a lot of young kids who are very, very good, and I still think talent-wise probably the best in the NBA. But they're going up against Jokic, Murray, possibly Aaron Gordon if he can go with a bad hammy. The depth that Denver has and their ability to step up in big game situations is just scary. I I am afraid to predict a winner in this Game 7. I said that I thought Oklahoma City was the best team in the NBA. I said that I expected them to win the championship. This is a treacherous, treacherous game, so I'll stick with my original prediction. I'll take Oklahoma City, but they better blow it out. Because if it comes down to a close game at the end, and you've got Jokic and Murray with the ball in their hands, don't put yourself in that spot. You better blow it out, and you better do it early, the way that the Knicks did, the way that the Pacers did. You got to nail this coffin shut. Don't leave it for the last 2 minutes of the game, or you're going to lose.
And if you don't remember, you also did say the same thing about the Cavs getting themselves
Hey,
through.
I get it. No, here's the thing. And looking back, I wish I had done a little more digging into what happened in the regular season. One of the things we didn't talk about, the Pacers owned the Cavs in the regular season. That should have been an indicator. I didn't think the Pacers were coming out of the first round against the Bucks, which they did. I didn't think the Pacers would come out of the second round against the Cavs, which they did. Tyrese Halliburton, another one of those young, exciting players that's going to carry this league for the next 10 years. The Pacers Knicks series, and we'll talk about this in just a moment, I'm sure. But this brings me back. As an old guy, I remember the 80s and the 90s. I remember Reggie Miller versus Patrick Ewing. Not Isaiah, I'm sorry. The guards for the Knicks back in the 90s. Oh my gosh. Like, this is for us old guys, and I know you young guys may not remember this, but for us old guys, this is a flashback. And I would love nothing better. I would love to see it be New York, Minnesota in the finals, Karl-Anthony Towns against his old team. Like, that's a great narrative. That's a great narrative. The NBA right now, I think, is cringing at the possibility of not having a major market team in the finals. I'm not saying it's going to be a conspiracy every time, but man, they kind of need New York in there. Just saying.
Yeah, definitely. That would be definitely fun to see. I mean, Minnesota taking on the Knicks. Their former player playing up against them, and it'd be fun to see the Timberwolves winning one. That'd definitely be fun to see.
I couldn't agree more.
So that brings us into
All right.
the last game that we were going to be talking about: the Knicks and the Celtics. Knicks won a
Heartbreak for the Celtics.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Heartbreak for Jason Tatum. He's going to miss all of next year. All of next year rehabbing. And Jason Tatum is one of the best talents in the NBA. The Boston Celtics were one of the deepest teams in the NBA. They were a lot of people's popular pick for who was going to win this. I feel for Jason Tatum. I feel for the Celtics, not that much because it's fun to see new teams in there. They might tear down their roster. They might tear down their roster and start again. Start a rebuild. I don't know that they're in as bad a position as some of the teams out there in terms of money. They might be able to keep it together and wait out next year. Wait for Jason Tatum to return. I don't know. Heartbreak for them, but the New York Knicks, and they played like a championship team against a championship or against a champion. And they always say, in order to be the champion, you got to beat the champion. Well, they did. And kudos to Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Those two stars are building something special there in New York again for the first time in a long time. New York fans, classless, singing goodbye. What is wrong with you clowns? What is wrong with you? Fun to watch. Fun to watch Cat. Fun to watch Jalen Brunson. And fun to watch Mikal Bridges as a Suns fan, seeing him have another shot at getting to a finals. Good on you, man. Good on you and good luck.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's happy to see that former Sun is having another chance at a finals run. Hopefully, if the cards fall in the right way for the Knicks, They very well could be that team in the finals to hopefully be able to get a ring for their young talents there. But definitely with the Celtics, I mean, I definitely agree with you. A rebuild very well could be coming in for them here, with Jason Tatum most likely being out for the year. You very well could see a rebuild there. Porzingis not playing as well, didn't play all that well, but at the same time performed about where he was supposed to. I could definitely see them moving on from him this off season just to kind of clear up some extra room for some other younger talent. But yeah, definitely rebuild could be coming for the Celtics here fairly soon.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful as a basketball fan that they find a way to keep it together, wait it out. Jason Tatum returns, and we get one more look at what really is one of the best teams in terms of overall depth, overall talent. Like this team had a potential to be a dynasty. Losing Jason Tatum for an entire year is going to threaten that. I'd like to see him get another shot at making this work. I just don't know that we will. I am excited for all of the new talent. And one of the things I love about the NBA, by the way, is the parity. You don't see a lot of teams get to be great for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, the way that you seem to in the NFL, the way that you seem to in baseball. And that's part of what makes the NBA such a fun product as a sports fan. I hope to see I hope to see this continue, this trend continue, because eventually then the team that you love, and I'll use the Timberwolves as an example, the team that you love is not going to be bad for 20 years before you get a crack at it again. Unless, of course, you're the Utah Jazz who seem to be cursed. We'll talk about the draft in a second.
Exactly. So one thing I definitely want to bring up before that, unfortunately, with the Trailblazers, their owner unfortunately passed away. And after that passing, his estate has decided to sell. So the Trailblazers are currently up for sale. So it'll definitely be fun to see whoever is going to be the new owner of them. Take up the mantle of the owner of Portland, and seeing what direction, with that new ownership in place, what direction Portland will go in.
A couple of things I'm interested to watch with this. Number one is valuation. We just saw the Phoenix Suns sell for a record, what was it, $4 billion?
Give
Uh,
or take.
gross numbers, gross. Portland Trailblazers, and I'm just going to throw a number out there, and we'll see just how close I hit. In terms of valuation, they don't have a lot of talent right now. They're not a winning basketball team. They do have a decent following up there in Portland, and that's kudos to the Oregon people who support that team through thick and thin. I really expect this valuation to come in somewhere around 1.6, 1.7 billion. A small fraction of what the Suns went for, and more important, who's going to buy? I think it was Jeff Bezos already said he's not in. And he's probably the most prominent name up there that would have an interest. If you're out shopping for a basketball team, it might be a really great buy right now because there is potential. Again, with the parity in the NBA, there's potential to turn this team around and suddenly have this team be worth twice what you paid for it. It'll be interesting to watch, interesting to see who ends up buying this team and whether or not they are committed to the winning franchise that was the Trailblazers of old. So, good luck.
And that'll transition us into the NBA draft. Yeah, that
You mean the
lottery
rigged?
happened. The
The
rigged
rigged?
draft, I agree.
Thank
The
you.
Mavericks had what? A 1 point whatever.
1.8%. I'm not big on
1.8.
conspiracy theories. I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but let's talk about one for just a moment. You're the NBA and you have a team out there in Los Angeles that wears this yellow jersey that really looks like puke. You have Anthony Davis and LeBron James as your stars. It should be enough. It should be enough. But they're not at the top of the league by any means. They're somewhere between the fourth and sixth best team in the West. Not even in the NBA, in the West. You need a way to sell some tickets. You need a way to sell some more jerseys. You need a way to put your poster team back at the top. You have an owner in Mark Cuban who can't seem to shut his mouth or get it right and not get fined $250,000 for tampering with the draft. That has to maintain some level of decorum, some level of honesty, some level of. So the NBA makes a call. Hey, listen, here's the deal. You got this superstar, and I'm not talking little star, I'm talking superstar, guy who should have been the first overall pick in his draft class, guy who is selling tickets internationally. You have this guy. We have a thought. What if this guy was on our poster team? What if this guy suddenly got to align with LeBron James? You mean LeBron James and Anthony Davis? Oh no, we got to give you something back. So here's what we're thinking: you give up Luka Doncic, Luka Donkey, Luka asshole. I'm sorry. Oops, that slipped. You give up Luka, we'll send you back Anthony Davis, and you will magically, amazingly win your 1.8% chance at the next potential rate in Cooper Flag. Guys, that it's a conspiracy theory that probably carries a lot more weight. And if you're the Utah Jazz and you don't believe in conspiracy theories, you might want to reinvest, because I think you just got shafted. Because not only did you get bumped from potentially the first overall pick, Victor Wembanyama, the next great, the next Jack, the next Dr. J, the next whatever you want him to be. Listen, we already gave you Stephon Castle. You got Chris Paul over there. We're going to send you the number 2 pick in the draft and let the Spurs be great again. Oh, in Utah, sorry about your luck.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the conspiracy theories are all going out, and everyone's screaming it. You know, the Mavericks with their 1.8% chance should have never been able to sniff the number 1 overall pick. I more than anything believe it definitely was down. You know, you guys just lost a huge player in Luka Doncic. How about we just help you out a little bit here? You get the number 1 draft pick. You're fine. Go have fun. Get Cooper Flag. I definitely have to agree. I mean, some of those conspiracy theories are way the heck out there, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
yeah, it's gross. It's gross to watch, and again, it speaks to the parity. It speaks to the parity. Your team can be pretty good and still end up with the first overall pick, and a guy who I think will be um, a star, if not a superstar, in this league. Um, More interesting to me is what the San Antonio Spurs do with the second pick. Dylan Harper would be a real nice piece to pair with Victor and Stephon Castle. The question is he going to be the point guard? Is Castle going to be the point guard? How are they going to use him? And if not him, do they fill a shooting guard, small forward in Arias Bailey? So both of these teams all of a sudden put Texas right back on the map. Both of these teams have the potential to be great again instantly. Uh, Again, speaks to the parity, speaks to the fun of the NBA draft lottery, speaks to why teams tank. Uh, I'm happy for you Mavericks fans. Congratulations all over again. You get another great star to watch grow up and get stolen away. For you Spurs fans, go to hell. I hate the Spurs. Hate them with a passion. You got Victor. That wasn't enough. Here's Stephon Castle. That's not enough. Here's another number 2 overall pick. Go to hell.
Now, before
Oh,
we
and Robert Horry,
transition,
go to hell.
now before we transition to the NFL, there was some breaking news just recently about baseball. The Orioles, with how terrible they've been, about
Yep.
40 minutes ago, they have fired their manager, Brandon Hyde.
Yep. Not a surprise. That team has way too much talent and way too much depth to start off 15-28 in a division where you can't start off 15-28. And I like the move now because if you wait another month to make this move, you're out of it completely and you're up against the trade deadline and you're suddenly a seller. You're an automatic seller. Timing was right. He got his chance with talent that how are you 15-28 with this team? It's unbelievable. So I hope the Orioles can write it. I'm not even an Orioles fan, not even close, but I do love that franchise. I love that team story. We all loved Cal Ripken. I love Adley Rushman. That guy should be a catcher for the ages. Jackson Holiday, like they've got talent. I'd love to see them get back to their winning ways. I hope this is the first step in it.
All right, now that brings us into the NFL. We all saw it happen. We all saw it was going to happen here with the 49ers. Brock Purdy finally gets his major big deal with the 49ers, agreeing to a 5-year, $265 million deal with $181 million guaranteed.
Kyle Shanahan should just change his name to quarterback whisperer. Let's just review real quickly the guys that this guy has touched, okay? Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy. Who was the quarterback that he had in Washington along with them? RG3. Didn't he touch RG3? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, he did, but he wound up tearing his ACL.
Matt Ryan.
Okay, Matt Ryan.
These are guys that away from Kyle Shanahan, they've had success, but not the kind of success that they had under him. And for Mr. Irrelevant to get a $265 million contract, my God. Purdy has not won a championship yet. He might. He has the potential to be the best overall pick by position since Tom Brady. I'm happy for the kid, especially being a Gilbert product. Grew up here in Arizona. Great story for the locals. Super excited for him. I love Brock Purdy and I love everything that he does. I love the way he carries himself. I love the name that he gives himself. I love the fact that he's made just another great 49ers quarterback that we get to watch for the foreseeable future.
You there?
Oh, these are not boobs. It's just my sweater. Kudos to you, sir. Kudos to getting that contract. You deserve it. Not that anyone deserves $265 million. That's a whole nother conversation. But he deserves to be the quarterback of that franchise. He deserves to get paid as a franchise quarterback. I'm happy for him.
Definitely agree. Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I mean, $265 million as a quarterback, more than anything, it makes you realize that, hey, I mean, this kid's the real deal. You know, I mean, he was already the real deal because he got him to the what was it? The Super Bowl. He got him to already, right? Or no? So
no, he did, and didn't have the results there. If he had not gotten hurt on the first play of his first year when he stepped in, when they had the injuries at quarterback. If he hadn't gotten hurt in that playoff game against I want to say it was the Eagles, I think maybe we get a different result. Um, I'm excited to watch this kid's career, the rest of what should be the next 15 years, barring injury. Um, Kyle Shanahan is just a freaking genius. And John Lynch, by the way, anyone who doesn't think above and beyond the head coach, John Lynch might be the best GM in football. What he has done with the Niners this offseason, considering all of the losses they suffered in free agency, the way he rebuilt during this draft, and the way that he let these players go so he could pay Brock Purdy, they didn't take a huge step back. They may not win the division, they may not make the playoffs this year, but he's got it set up for a very quick turnaround, a very quick rebuild. If they don't make the playoffs this year, look for them to make it the next.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, the amount of moves that they made just to be able to free up the cap space to be able to get Brock Purdy this huge contract definitely is going to hurt the team this year. I could see even with just Brock Purdy back there, if we have a healthy CMC, um, if we have everybody
Brandon
stay
Ayuk,
healthy
Ricky
on that.
Pearsall,
Yep. If we
George
have
Kittle, like that offense has weapons. It's crazy the weapons they have, and I think a lot of people forgot about that. Ricky Pearsall, the second half of the year last year, showed why the Niners invested in him in the draft last year before he got shot. By the way, to come back from getting shot and almost killed and put up the rookie numbers he did, pairing him with Brandon Ayuk and Brock Purdy, man, what a fun Arizona connection. Both Ayuk and Pearsall going to ASU, Brock Purdy coming out of Gilbert, Arizona, going to Iowa State. Man, what a fun team it's going to be to watch offensively. And their defense, I think they did a great job in the draft of plugging holes. They may not be quite as good defensively as they were the year before, but again, still all the potential in the world to win games.
definitely agree. So that'll bring us to our final point, which I know you're going to start laughing at because of the turmoil that's going on in Cincinnati right now. Uh, Trey Hendrickson going into the off-season workouts said he's refusing to play without a new deal. I do not blame him, considering that Chase just got his massive contract. Higgins got his massive contract. Burrow has his massive contract. He's one of those star players on the team that wants to have a star player contract and be able to have his new deal rather than having to go through the whole issues like Higgins did before he got his massive contract of playing on franchise tag after franchise tag.
So this is the price. This is the price you pay when there is a hard cap in the NFL. And part of why I love